Have you ever been shocked by a sudden increase in your Medigap insurance premium? What if I told you that there's a way to discover these rate increases months before they are officially announced to insurance brokers and consumers, and even before insurance companies tell their own employees?
Tell me more. Tell me more.
My name is Cameron Giardini with Giardini Medicare. Today, we will share the often hidden way that at our independent insurance agency, we find Medigap rate increases months before they are officially announced, and we will show you how you can do the same thing. Insurance companies, they typically don't warn you about premium increases until about a month or two before they take effect. Let me show you some real examples. Here is a 25% rate increase that Aetna filed back in October with the state of Ohio. This was scheduled to take effect April 1st, 2025. But look at this email. We brokers, we were not notified about this increase until February 14th, less than 2 months before it took effect. And if you're a customer, you probably received notice even later than this.
Doesn't seem fair.
And this is not just Aetna. This happens across the industry. United Healthcare filed its 2025 June rate increases in Michigan on December 19th, 2024. But most customers and even brokers like us, we did not receive notice until mid-February 2025, as you can see from these mail notifications. Before we show you how to find these hidden rate increases, I do need to warn you about something. If you use the information in this video, and then you go ask brokers or representatives at the insurance companies about these rate increases, they are probably going to tell you that they have no idea what you're talking about, since again, they have simply not been notified of these increases yet. They might even tell you that you're wrong about the increase, which of course can feel uncomfortable.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Also, finding specific rate increase information, it can be time consuming. If you have a question about a particular or specific company's increases, please comment below with the name of the specific insurance company and the state you're interested in. That way everyone can benefit from the questions that you have and the answers that we give. If you have other specific Medicare questions, you should also join our private Medicare Q&A Facebook group. You can do that by scanning the QR code on the screen or using the link in the description. Now, the key to finding future Medigap premium increases before anyone else is using an online database that we have mentioned before called the SERFF filing system. You can access this by going to serff.com, which is SERFF.com, and there you will want to click on the filing access link. We will also provide a direct link in the description below. This system, it is available in all states that you can see on the map in blue, and this is pretty much all states across the country. However, there is a notable exception, which is Florida. They currently use their own more complicated system, which we do not have time to cover in this video. Also, just know that not every state using this system is going to make it easy. For example, California is a state shown in blue, but it is more difficult to find actual rate increase percentages using the website for that state. So your experience will vary based on where you live. To search for filings in your state, simply click on the state you're interested in. Some states like Iowa, they make the process very straightforward. One click and you're in. Other states like Kentucky, they require a few more steps. For Kentucky, you would instead click on the life and health option, then you look for resources, and then finally you click on the SERFF filing access link. Just be patient and explore the site if you don't immediately see what you're looking for. Now let's walk through exactly how to find these rate increases as soon as possible. What you can do here is you go to the SERFF website again, like we've talked about. You go to a specific state. For this, we will pick Tennessee. Then you will choose life and health. Now, like some other states, they do hide it a little bit how to get to the website, but you simply go down here for the SERFF filing access. You will click on the link, and then it will take you to the main page that you're probably used to seeing by now. At this point, you do begin search, you will do accept, and then this is where it gets very important because you want to narrow down your search as far as possible. We will do the business type as life, accident, health. This is not going to show Medicare. Just know that for now, you're just going to choose life, accident, health, or whatever it may show on this website. Then for the type of insurance, this is where you're going to choose actually Medicare. So you can type it in, you do Medicare, and once you've typed in Medicare, you will want to make sure you click this box right next to it, because what it will do is it will highlight all of the different Medicare filing options. Once you've done that, you can close that out. You will see here it still says that that is selected. And then for now, we are not going to choose specific companies. We are not going to choose specific products. What we are going to do is we're going to say, okay, what does it look like if I'm trying to find rate increases for about the past year or so in my state? What we can do is we can do the start submission date, and we'll go back to the beginning of 2024, which is January 2024. And this basically means it is going to search for all of the rate filings and different information that has been filed with the State Department of Insurance going back to January 1st, 2024. We can leave the end submission date blank. That means it will find all of the files up until today. Once we do that, we click search, and then this is where you're going to see a bunch of results. As you can see here, there are hundreds of filings, there are dozens of pages to sort through, but since we are specifically looking for rate increases, we are going to sort the filing type alphabetically, and you simply do that by clicking on it. Now you can see that advertising filing types are showing up first. We don't care about advertising in this video. We are going to scroll down. You're going to go over and keep checking different pages until you stop seeing advertising. So now we're on page 15. Now you can see it says form instead of advertising. And then eventually you'll start to see where it says form/rates. Now those ones are a little bit different. Oftentimes they are due to new companies filing in the market for the first time, but what we will want to see eventually is where it just says rate, as you can see here. Now that we've scrolled through the top, you can see we are simply sorting by companies in alphabetical order based on their rate filings. If we go over to a quote for Medigap plans in Tennessee, we can scroll down the list here and we can see different Plan G prices. I'm going to show you one that is ACE, just because they come up pretty quick alphabetically. You can see that they are relatively one of the lower cost plans in the market. So now if we go back to the filing, and if we want to see ACE's rate increase filing in the past year or so, you can see right here where it says ACE Property and Casualty and then closed and approved. So we'll go here, we'll click on it. Once we do this, you'll see the filings that ACE submitted in April of 2024, as you can see here. And then what we will normally look for is the actuarial memo. That is what you want to find premium increases. Now ACE does not specify which one is the filing memo in this case, but just from experience, I know that it is this one. If you have to click on all of them, you might have to do that, but you can go right here to this document. It will download, and then you can open it up. Now again, if you go here, now you'll see it says actuarial memo, and basically this is showing a rate increase of roughly 11% that they requested back in 2024. If we scroll down slightly, you'll just see more information. Eventually you'll see something where it specifies the rate increase, where here it says the 11.6% rate increase, and this was for September 1st of 2024. Despite it being filed back in April of 2024. Now, if we keep going, if you want to find the specific rate increase for a specific plan letter, probably looking at Plan G, Plan N, whatever it might be, this can be hidden in different actuarial memos. Now you'll see the exhibits and you can see the specific plan letter. So this has Plan A. Let's keep going down slightly. Now we have Plan G. So the specific Plan G increase, because again, the 11.6% was more of a total average for all of the plans. Now we look at Plan G, it is a 12% increase that they filed. And then if we go down to the high deductible G, 8% increase. The Plan N was an 8% as well. So now we know Plan G had a 12%, high deductible G 8%, and Plan N also 8%. Now let's go back to the filing access. If you want to go back to the main ones that we were looking at, you would go to return to search results. Once we do this, again, we are back here sorting through the rates. And I want to show you something that is probably the most complicated part of all of this. And it's a reason to put a comment for the specific company's rate increases that you're looking for. And the reason being is that all of these filings, they have a mix of closed blocks of business and open blocks of business. We've talked about this in other videos. We are definitely not getting into that in this video, but as an example, if we go through here and I want to find a company, let's say Mutual of Omaha, I'm going to keep scrolling through. Again, it is alphabetically. Eventually, I will get here. So now you can see Mutual of Omaha. Naturally, you'd say, okay, well, Mutual of Omaha, here we go, rate. Let me click on that. And you go here. Now we have the actuarial memo is going to be somewhere in here. It does not say actuarial memo, but it does say memo. If we click on it and then we download the memo and we look at it, this is where you'll see something very important. In the memo, at some point, it will say open or closed block of business. This does not always happen in every memo. Just be aware of this, but this is an example. And this clearly says this is a closed block of business. If we go back to the quote for Tennessee, let's go to Medicare.gov. And we want to find Mutual of Omaha. Let's scroll through here. Okay, so we have Mutual of Omaha, and they have Omaha Supplemental Insurance Company in parentheses. Why is that important? Well, because that is the actual name of the current block of business. It's not filed under Mutual of Omaha. It's filed under Omaha Supplemental Insurance Company. Going back, let's go back to our search results. Go here. And now we have to go look for the O's at this point. And eventually we will find where you'll see Omaha Supplemental Insurance Company. Now there are two of them. And if we look at this one, it says closed and approved. And if we click on it, you'll see this was back in February of 2024. But more importantly, if we go back to the search results, we can see this one says pending actuarial review. Now the reason it says that is because this is very new and it has not even been fully approved by the state. And if we look at it, we can find the actuarial memo. We'll click on that. We'll open the memo. And now you can see that these plans are newer. And if we go down to where it says open or closed, it says these forms are currently being issued. Now we know we have the rate filing for the current open block of business for Mutual of Omaha. Now, something you may also notice is that if we scroll through this document, there are no proposed rate increases. You can see here, these are trends. These are not the proposed rate increases. Don't get that confused. You can see some other various factors. But you'll notice that there's simply no part saying Plan G has X% increase, Plan N, so on and so forth. What we have to do, we go back to the filing, and this is where it gets tricky because some companies, they won't have it in their memo, but Mutual of Omaha, for example, they have rate increase proposed, which is Exhibit 5. So we click specifically on Exhibit 5, we download it, we open it. Now you can see for 2025, this current block of business with Mutual of Omaha has a 35% increase to their Plan G, a 25% to Plan N, and a shockingly low 0% increase to their high deductible G when you compare that to the other plan letters. Now, if we go back to the memo, again, the reason we want to do this is when is this proposed? You can see here that this proposal is set to take effect on May 1st, 2025. Now, this is really important because, again, if we were looking at quotes right now, all you see is $120 per month for this Mutual of Omaha plan. But little do you know, if you're looking for a Plan G, this plan in a few months is about to have a 35% rate increase. Now, this might not affect you right away if you newly sign up for the plan, but eventually you're going to be exposed to this rate increase. So wouldn't you rather know this ahead of time? Looking for rate increase filings in the past year is just one strategy. What we often do is we check the system on a daily basis for newly announced premium increases. Here is exactly how we do that. For this, we're going to use Colorado for our example. So we go to Colorado with the state this time. And when we do that, we will have to find again where the SERFF filing system is. They have theirs with a nice little button. So we'll click on that and we will do begin search. As always, accept it. We will choose the business type as life, accident, health, and more. And again, make sure you sort by searching for only Medicare. Instead of now looking at a broad range of dates, let's just look at the rates that they have filed in the last month. So right now is March 11th as of recording this, and we'll go back to February 11th, 2025. I'll click search. And this will have the results. Again, you sort by filing type, and we want the rate filings. So we go to page 2 on here. You can see there are many fewer results, which is helpful to make it easier to find things. And here we're just going to see different companies that have filed their rate increases so far in 2025 in the past month. If we go to Medigap quotes on Medicare.gov and we scroll through these from Colorado, and we'll see one here, which is Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society, which is more so commonly known as Woodman Life. But what we need to know is what are their proposed rate increases, because is $141 really what you're going to pay in the future? If we go to the SERFF filing, you have the Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society filing right here. You can see this is the rate filing. and we will click on it. When we do that, you again are going to try to look for the actuarial memo. That is probably where the rate increase projections will be. This one's a little bit weird. They have the actuarial memo template, which when we click on it, it actually is an Excel document instead of the typical PDF that you might have seen in the previous videos we've made. There are different categories down here, different tables at the bottom, and we're just going to go for the summary. So what you can see, this was again filed in February, and they show a base rate change of 17.3%. A thing to note here is this is the average total percent change, which is all of the different plan letters. They have a minimum rate increase for some plan letters of 9%, and a maximum of 18%. But nowhere in this document does it say which plan G will get, which plan N will get, and so on and so forth. What we'll do to actually find that is let's go back to the filing. Let's look at the projections instead of the actuarial memo. When we download the projections, here you're going to actually see what this will look like per plan. So as I scroll through here, you can start to see how this says plan A right here. That is the Medigap plan A with an 18% increase, effective June 1st of this year. As we keep scrolling down, let's go find Plan G. And here we see Plan G also has an 18% increase on June 1st. But what about the other plan letters? As we scroll, we see the high deductible G has a 9% increase, which is half of the Plan G. Again, June 1st, that's what all of them are going to be. And then last but not least, if we scroll down and look at the Plan N, that also has a 9% increase, again, half of that of the Plan G. Lastly, what if you want to find a specific insurance company's rate increases? Here is how we do that. And what we will do, we will choose Oklahoma for this one. You can see theirs is a little bit hidden, and they do have a hyperlink to the actual SERFF website. So you click on that and then begin search. Once you do that, you accept, and it gets back to what you're used to seeing. Here we will choose life, accident, health again. We will type in only Medicare for the types of insurance. We will sort by that. And then here is where you want to put the specific company name that you're looking for. Now make sure to be a little bit vague with it and choose contains instead of begins with. It will be easier to catch what you're looking for with the search results. For example, if you're putting Mutual of Omaha, just put Omaha, for example. Or for this one, we are going to look for United Healthcare, and we will just put United. Then we will sort the date. We're going to just look about a year in the past. We don't care about their really old rate increase filings. We just want to see their most recent one, so we want to make sure we catch it with the date range, and then we'll click search. Again, you will sort the filing type, and we're going to find where they have the rate filing type. So now we found United Healthcare in the system. You can see there are a couple different ones. You might logically think it is this first one, because why not? It says 2024 rate filing. I would certainly choose that. However, when you choose United Healthcare and you're trying to find their recent increases, you have to look for the one that specifically says this: Group Medicare Supplement Plans, and then MIPPA or MIPA. It doesn't really matter why, but that is what you're looking for the current rate filings for United Healthcare. And when we click on that, you will clearly see that it has the actuarial memo, which they say is the 2025 memorandum. And we click on it to open it up, we download it, and then right when we see it, you will see the 2025 proposed average rate increases, and they do break it down very clearly by plan letter, with Plan G at 9.5% and Plan N at 7.5%. You can also see that this rate increase was already proposed and it was already effective for January 1st, 2025. When using the SERFF system, it is important to remember that you will often see rate increases that are filed but not yet fully approved by the state. Make sure to remember that unless the status says that it's closed or approved, or the actual memo says that it has been approved, the rate increase is subject to change. Now, more often than not, the initial filing is the one that ends up being accepted, but there may be multiple filings before a final approval. For example, here you can see in Michigan, Aetna filed a 9% increase on December 5th, and then they refiled for a much larger 25% increase on December 18th, only to eventually settle on a 19% increase that they filed on January 2nd. On the screen, you can actually see a real example of the state pushing back on a proposed increase by an insurance company, and then the insurance company agreeing to lower the increase to 10%, when they originally requested 20%. Now you know how to find Medigap rate increases before just about anybody else if they're not familiar with this method. But you might be wondering, well, this sounds great, but why should I care about finding rate increases a few months early? There are 3 big reasons this information is valuable. First, as cheesy as it sounds, knowledge is power.
Wow, that was really cheesy.
Having all the information helps you make the right Medicare decisions because you understand the full picture. For example, if we look at a Humana Medigap quote in March 2025, using the quoting software that we as brokers use for a Plan G effective July 2025, it shows a $157.35 per month premium for a 65-year-old male in Novi, Michigan. However, if we check the rate filing that was submitted in December 2024, we can see that they have a proposed 15% rate increase upcoming in July 2025. Now, if we do the math, the monthly premium for this plan will eventually be closer to $180 per month. Knowing this ahead of time, it allows you to make a better informed choice. And this is not to pick on specific insurance companies. This happens with all Medigap plans. Number 2, many Medigap companies, they offer what is known as a rate lock. And this is usually for 12 months, meaning your premiums, they won't increase for the first 12 months after your plan's effective date. Now this sounds great, but it's essential to understand what this really means for you. For example, if you enroll in a plan in April for a June 1st effective date, and the company files a 20% rate increase in May effective September 1st, you likely won't pay that higher rate increase until your policy anniversary on June 1st of the following year. But here's the catch. You're not skipping the increase, you're simply delaying it. If you had known about the increase when you first applied, you instead could have potentially changed your plan during your 6-month Medigap open enrollment period with no medical underwriting or restrictions. Now, a year later, you will likely have to qualify for a new plan based on your health through medical underwriting to switch to a new Medigap plan. Last but not least, even if you've been enrolled in a Medigap plan for years, knowing about increases early, it just gives you more options. For example, if your plan files for a significant increase in November, but you normally wouldn't be notified until early the following year, now you can instead make a change to a Medicare Advantage plan if you want during the fall annual election period that ends December 7th, instead of scrambling to find a special enrollment period a couple months later. You can also get a head start on applying for a new Medigap plan through medical underwriting. Since our future health is never guaranteed, those extra months of notice, they might be the difference between qualifying for a new plan or being stuck with a large rate increase and being unable to change plans. Now that you know how to find Medigap increases when they are first announced, you are way ahead of the game. But don't forget to check out our video on why Medigap premiums increase in the first place.